You guys getting a lot from me today. This is the second stream boxing for today. I haven't talked so much boxing in a long time. First and foremost, I want to read from a bit of scripture and we roll right into it. All right, more boxing. So, scripture I'm reading from today comes from the book of Acts. Okay, it's gonna be fast. Don't worry about it. All right. It says here. All right, here it is. All right, here it is. Here it is. So all of the people of God that have been under persecution because of Peter and John, who have been held up by, at the time, the leaders of the Jewish nation, and they held them for healing a man and making him walk. Believe it or not, and they were talking about Jesus, and these people wanted to get rid of them. So they got back together, and when they got back together, and started praying. And at the end of their prayer, uh, it says, and when they had prayed, the place was shaken where they were assembled together, and they were filled with the Holy Ghost, and they spake the word of God with boldness. And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and one soul, one is man. And neither said any of them that ought the things that which he possessed was his own, but they had all things in common. I always found this awesome. You know, it doesn't happen today. But with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was upon them all. Neither was there any among them that lacked. As many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them and brought the prices of things that were sold and laid them down at the apostles' feet. And distribution was made unto every man according as he had need. And Joseph, who was the apostle surnamed Barnabas, which was interpreted son of consolation, a Levite in the country of Cyprus, having land, sold it and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet. Brotherhood. These days, people don't sell their property and lands and give it so that everybody can live together and also kind of have one heart, one soul, and help one another. You know, but that's okay. What we can do, though, as brothers and sisters, is use our resources and help each other as brothers and sisters. That doesn't happen much still to this day. People have their houses or whatever, and they're not helping one another. You know, and it is what it is. Now, we got to get to that point, though. Now, let me just move to why this scripture to me is important. It's important to me because, first of all, the first person you should go to for any problem, any situation is God. I'm learning that now. Okay. The second thing that I thought was really dope was it was a whole set of people came to God. It wasn't just one person. It was a set of them. When they started getting oppressed, it was a collective. And that is something different. Things really happen when you come as a collective to God. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care how impossible it seems. When you as a collective come to God and pray about it, God works, man. It's different when one person does it. There's just one person, you know, but when the collective is totally different. But yet, even if you're alone, you're the only person doing it. It triggers a whole set of stuff to happen. And so that's what that scripture showed me. And not only that, people progressed. They progressed as a collective, all things in common. They started moving to one mind, one spirit, one soul. They moved together as a collective. They moved in oneness, in agreement. This is what the scripture is showing. And I hope that we as people would do that as the body of Christ worldwide. We start moving in oneness, one spirit, one mind, one soul, agreement. I had to deal with some people who in and out of the spirit all the time. It's tough, you know, because when you're dealing with people who sometimes are not spiritually grounded, it can be very, very challenging because one minute they in Christ, next minute the devil's leading them. You have to watch that. But nonetheless, we as a body, if we have a collective and a body, it strengthens us, it reinforces us, it gives us that strength that we need because it's not one person carrying a burden alone. And it's so awesome. And so fellowship, that's what fellowship is. And it should be a daily thing. And it's really nice to know there are people looking out for you, praying for you, as well as ready to supply your needs wherever it's necessary. And that's the comfort in the body of Christ. And we're going to get there. We're going to get back to the Acts, the way how the body used to behave in the book of Acts. Don't worry, we're going to get there. You know, and it's not going to be no Gestapo, nothing. It's going to be pure love and so on. I know there are collectives and organizations that kind of Gestapo or that kind of to themselves, and they're not really, it's kind of funny how they behave. We're not going to be there. We're going to be truly lights, and we're going to truly have love flowing through our veins all the time. We're going to be hated. People are going to hate us a lot, but it'll be true love and stuff flowing through us. I'm not there yet, but we're going to get there. All right. Let's get back into the boxing now. So, talking about boxing, current events. And one of the current events that's coming out, let me go screen share here. And you guys can leave your comments in the comment section. But I'm on screen share now. So I'll go to boxingscene.com right now. And boxingscene.com, Gabe Rosado is going to be facing Luis Arias. And Luis Arias is talking the talk as usual. You know, he couldn't keep him quiet. He talking the talk. About facing Gabe Rosado. In fact, what's interesting about this and entertaining to some degree is that Luis Arias is putting money on the table saying, I'm going to beat you. $10,000 say I'm going to beat you. And it seems like they made an agreement before. They was betting or whatever. He said, I brought my money. Where's your money? And then he says, you know what, 15,000, I'm going to stop you. And that was funny. And he's talking to Eddie Hearn and stuff. And I think a lot of people dismissing Luis Arias because of his last performance against Danny Jacobs. But what people forget is Luis Arias rolled his foot against Danny Jacobs, and then he had to fight to survive. But if you really look at Luis Arias, his what he was doing in there as he was surviving, you would notice his defense was on point. Danny Jacobs was missing a lot of shots. And the way how he got to the inside of Danny Jacobs and stuff, I also realized Luis Arias at that time didn't have the kind of pop and power to really beat Jacobs, but he was doing pretty good before, you know, he rolled his foot. He wasn't doing great. Danny Jacobs was still winning every round, but he was doing good enough. And that big step up, I don't know if it's going to play a role, because we all know Danny Jacobs is one of the best welterweights out there. I can't say if Luis Arias, that experience, is going to play a big role as he faces Gabe Rosado. So we want to see if there's a difference or if you're just chitter-chattering. But here's what I want you guys to do in the comment section. I want you to pick who you think would win between Gabe Rosado and Luis Arias. Put it in the chat section for me, all right? Shout out to all you guys in the chat section. Shout out to you guys in the chat section. You guys can leave your comments in the chat section. I'm going to also participate. I'll tell you my pick after I see what you guys say in the chat section, all right? Give a reason why you think whoever you pick would win. It's always good to give a reason, because that's awesome. You know what I mean? All right, let's look at some other stuff here. So the other thing is Clarissa Shields going to be in action again, and she's going to be facing Hannah Rankin, who comes from across the seas. And they was going at it. It was pretty interesting. You know, Baby Miller's going to be on that card as well, and he's facing a guy called Bogdan Dinu. I don't know who that dude is, but whatever. So we're going to get to see Clarissa Shields sport her skills. You know, Clarissa, she's a big middleweight. She's going to look to bully the smaller Hannah Rankin. We'll see how that turns out. You know, them two girls, like, they look like hood rats. You know what I'm saying? They're real tough and bad. So we'll see if Clarissa Shields has learned from her last experience with that boxer who knocked her down. Let's see if she learned anything, or if she's still going to just go and try and bully her way through in that fight. And then Gerald Big Baby Miller, he's going to be fighting Bogdan Dinu. You guys, again, can tell me your picks with Clarissa Shields versus Hannah Rankin, who you think would win, and between Gerald Baby Miller and Bogdan Dinu, who do you think would win between Gerald Miller and Bogdan Dinu? So I'll be very curious to see who you guys pick as the winner there as well. All right. So now we're looking at Callum Smith. This was interesting. Callum Smith was talking about, I guess he was in an interview or something. He's super middleweight champion. And he was talking about he would love to fight Andre Ward. I was like, what? Andre Ward's in retirement, man. You know what I mean? But yo, man, these guys like these big names. So Callum Smith's talking about facing Andre Ward. First of all, if I were Callum Smith, I'll keep Andre Ward's name out of my mouth, because you can't inside fight, buddy. You just like Sergey Kovalev. You gonna get tagged up and destroyed. Okay, and it ain't gonna ever be at super middleweight. You had to move up because Andrew was a big dude. Okay, and you may have to go up to actually cruiserweight at this point in time. So I don't think that'll ever happen. I mean, Andrew Ward hearing that might say, you know what, this boy could be calling me out. Let me come out and just beat this boy up and leave. You know, Callum Smith doesn't understand. These guys just don't understand. You are outside fighter. You are outboxer. All right. You almost got beaten up by the dude you stopped. If that was you, I would not be calling Andrew Ward just because you don't have the skills to deal with Andrew Ward. But he said how he would be more than willing to fight Andrew Ward in May. I mean, that's just crazy. First of all, Andrew Ward would never take that fight. That's too close. And he had to get warmed up and everything. And the second thing is that he ain't gonna be fighting that super middleweight. That's crazy. I mean, he much bigger than that. So how he would come down to super middleweight to fight Callum Smith? That just all those things are just so wrong right there. But I mean, Callum Smith had to make his way up to light heavyweight at least to face Andrew Ward. So I just think it would be dumb for Callum Smith to even face Andrew Ward. I don't know. I'm hearing some picks. Sometimes I wonder if these young fighters are thinking, like, you know, even Mikey Garcia. I'm thinking, Mikey Garcia, man, you should have thought through what you was trying to do. Why are you trying to get the biggest, baddest guy in Errol Spence? Yeah, you want to get a challenge. Fine. You may survive 12 rounds, but do you really seriously think you could beat that dude? I mean, come on now. I mean, it's like you taking that serious leap up. Like, did ego get to your head just because you beat a 6-foot long guy in the guy at lightweight? You think you can face Errol Spence? Errol Spence ain't no Adrian Broner. Errol Spence is not um, Junior that you faced. He ain't them guys. He a totally different category of fighter. You know, and it's just like, you know, you think about what Mikey Garcia is doing. And I've been thinking about it all the time. And I'm definitely going to watch that fight. And I'm not saying Mikey gets knocked out. I'm not even saying Errol Smith man downs him, right? But, I mean, sometimes, man, people just, like they say, I think he bought up more than he could chew. Anyways, if Andrew Ward was to face Callum Smith, who would you pick to win? So you got all of this stuff to pick, right? Andrew Ward versus Callum Smith, who you pick to win? Put it down in the chat section. We're going to talk more about that. Maurice Hooker gets off the floor to stop Alex Saucedo. Saucedo, by the way, is coached by none other than Gennady Golovkin's trainer. And Gennady Golovkin's trainer has of late had a lot of his fighters lose fights. His fighters have been getting beat up all the time. I find that really hilarious. But it is what it is. I guess the dude is a trainer in name, but he's not so much can take people from scratch and really do something with them. Anyways, Maurice Hooker beat Alex Saucedo. All right. So that's what it is. And finally, if you thought the betting was over, nope. I remember Errol Spence clashing with Terrence Crawford, and they bet $1 million. They bet $1 million whoever wins gets that from the other person, which I thought was interesting. They even talked about the trainers, $20,000. Spence trainer kicks the butt of Crawford's trainer. And Crawford even wanted to throw in another bet where his trainer would actually be faster than Errol Spence. And Errol Spence was, what does that mean? What does that mean? In what way is he faster? That's what you gotta tell me what way you're talking about, first of all. You know. So I thought it was pretty interesting, again, to draw up interest for the fight when it ever happens. There's a lot to happen before that happens, but it's nice to see Crawford, who's way out there in Aram's stable, and Aram was right there too, is way out left field, and ESPN, totally different network, and just kind of sitting out there to dry, that he's actually trying to now at least interface with some of the welterweights out there. At least he's interfacing with Spence. Crawford versus Spence I say Crawford versus Spence will be Spence's best fight to date. Actually, no. Actually, no. Actually, Spence's best fight today, a welterweight that is, would have been Kell Brook. Okay, Kell Brook was his best fight. It wasn't the perfect Kell Brook. Kell Brook had gotten his eye orbital damage by GGG, but Kell Brook would have been his best fight. Why? Because Kell Brook actually faced Sean Porter and beat Sean Porter. So that's why I say that. Crawford would not be his best fight. See, Crawford at welterweight, that is. Okay, Crawford's got a lot of history and experience, moved up weight classes, all of that. You know, undisputed champion, so he's more decorated than most everybody there, except for Danny Garcia, maybe. But when it comes to most experienced welterweight or best welterweight, I think Spence's best fight was Kell Brook. It wasn't even Lamont Peterson. You know, because Lamont Peterson fought nobody at welterweight. However, Kell Brook fought Sean Porter. Beat him comprehensively. Yeah. So yeah, Errol Spence, that's his best fight. So if he was to ever face Crawford, I think that would be downplayed. I think Keith Thurman would be a nice fight for Spence, a better fight for Spence than Crawford. And y'all be watching me like, nah, man. I'll be like, yeah, man. I would love to see Keith Thurman versus Crawford. I would love to see Danny Garcia versus Crawford. I would love to see Sean Porter versus Crawford. I'd like to see all of them versus Crawford. So hopefully Crawford can kind of focus on that. Errol Spence is solid and everything. We have not seen the best of Errol Spence yet. He hasn't had to change gears really, except against Kell Brook. And Kell Brook was really tagging him up, but Kell Brook wasn't working the body enough. So I would love to see Sean Porter or Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. But we even talk about Terrence Crawford. But Errol Spence does have a point. Terrence Crawford is too small for him. I mean, you have to talk about legitimate welterweights, all right? So legitimate welterweights, you know, are Sean Porter and Keith Thurman, all right? Danny Garcia is not really a legitimate welterweight. He's been taking the punches, and he's going with the real welterweights, but they still able to bully him quite a lot, you know. Porter bullied him around, and then Keith Thurman just bashed him up and then started boxing him, having fun. So the bigger welterweights still have their way. And Crawford's probably strong. You know what I would love to see? Crawford versus Garcia. Now, that would have been a good fight. Danny Garcia versus Terrence Crawford. That's a good fight, actually. Because Danny Garcia, he don't have a whole set of footwork or nothing. But he got a solid defense, and he got a hell of a chin, and he's good at counterpunching. I would love to see that, because I think those guys are on the same footing. Crawford, Garcia, Lamont Peterson. I would like Crawford to actually face a Lamont Peterson. Let's see if he could get past him. If he could get past Lamont Peterson, I think Peterson's more beatable than all of the others. I think that's the one he should face first, Lamont Peterson. And he's not ready for Spence. He's not ready for those guys. He's not ready for Spence. He's not ready for Porter. He's not ready for Thurman. They're big welterweights, man. I don't care how much this guy juices himself. He's not ready for those guys. Those guys are big. His punching power, he really can't do nothing to those guys. You know what I mean? He got some good power and stuff and all of that. He's not ready for those guys. You know? Yeah. He's not ready for them. The guys he can face right now, if I was him, was a Lamont Peterson and definitely a Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia was a unified super lightweight champion, and he was the undisputed. They should meet up. That's the matchup right there. I mean, I know he beat Amir Khan and knock him out, but Danny Garcia, that's a good matchup right there. Danny Garcia or Lamont Peterson. You know, that's the matchup he should be facing. Those are the guys he should be facing. Errol Spence is way out of his league. Spence is way out of his league, just like with Mikey Garcia. Well, I'm not saying Spence would knock him out. I don't think so. But I think Spence will outland him. He'd outland him. He would be losing the fight. Because Spence constantly is scoring on him. And if he can make Spence miss, you know, because the other thing with Terrence Crawford, I don't really see Terrence Crawford fighting in the pocket much. He's been fighting outside the pocket most of the time. And you know, Spence got a long range. He got a long reach. You can't do that. And Spence is a guy, he can use his jab on the outside to get to the inside. And he can out-jab you. And as much as both guys are southpaws, I still got my money on Spence because he's so strong. He really is strong. Crawford's strong and elastic and everything, but Spence is really, really strong. So, I mean, if y'all think Danny Garcia gonna get carved up by Spence, what's to make you think that Crawford won't get? I mean, Crawford's wily and he's smart, okay, but I'm not confident in his footwork, his pivot work. Um, he do different things. He can change it up and stuff, you know. And Spence just be walking you down basically, but Spence can box a little bit. So I would love to see that fight with Spence versus Crawford, and they both kind of inexperienced in a way at welterweight because Spence really fought nobody except for Kell Brook, a real welterweight champion. You know, Lamont Peterson was okay, but he wasn't really a real champion. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at things. So let's see what you guys say in the comment section to that. I think that's about it that I have to talk about right now. Hold on a second, please, people. I think I heard somebody call my name. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Cool. Cool. You guys can hear me. Yeah. So that's what I basically got to say. Nobody was on my feed. That's weird. I thought somebody would have been up on my feed. I thought people would be up on my feed for this. Somebody else just came up on my feed. Yeah, more drama in the place. My mom just had a whole bunch of pain, so I had to go and sort that situation out. And thankfully, there's a family member there, so it worked out well. It just suddenly kind of came up on her, and so she had some pain. So I had to split. This is the life I live now, man. You know, and when people are in pain, they can be pretty nasty towards you, so you have to be careful. All right, so back to what I was saying. I don't know how many of you guys saw this video on stream, and nobody's commenting though. I'm seeing people watch my video, but you're not commenting. You can leave your comments in the chat section right across there. Luis Arias versus Rosado, Shields, Calista Shields versus Rankin. I got a bunch of fights, man. You know, I want to hear what you guys have for your picks. So let's hear what you guys got to say about that. What you guys got to say in the comment section. Come on, man. Don't be bashful and shy. I see you guys are watching my videos, so might as well talk. Let me give you some other news out there. So as I said before, so funny. Jarrell Baby Miller, he's gonna be fighting. So you can see him on display on the Zone. That's tonight or today, this afternoon, actually. Also, we know that what's his name? That I'm forgetting the guy's name now. And Maurice Hooker, he beat Alex Rosado. I just spoke about that. Also, what's interesting, we just talked about Luis Arias and his face-off with Gabe Rosado. Deontay Wilder saying, if Fury tries to rough me up, I'll be his worst nightmare. Of course, we just talked about Callum Smith being willing to face Andre Ward. Roman Chocolito Gonzalez, he wants to get another fight with Sorong Visai. I guess he wants to get beat up again. I don't know. But it is what it is. Joseph Parker is going to be facing Flores. And Joseph Parker said you'll see more power in the Flores fight. Brandon Rios is coming back. He's going to be facing Josh Kelly. I'm sorry. Not Josh Kelly. Some other opponent. I can't remember who it is. People have been talking about Mayweather versus Nasukawa. Reason CEO saying that, you know, they're going to get that fight happening. But even if they get the fight happening, what does it matter to us? It doesn't matter to us. It's going to be an exhibition match anyway. It's not no full-fledged match, so it doesn't mean anything to me. I guess just make some news. Mayweather makes some news. Wilder says Joshua can't beat me. Fury or Ortiz can't beat me. Okay, it's confidence right there. Diego De La Hoya could not make weight, so his fight was off. Peter Quillen may face Caleb Truex. So that's some other stuff in the news. Wilder says, if Fury can't be beat, why is he hiring Freddie Roach? I don't even understand it either. Freddie Roach is an offensive fighter. He's not a defensive fighter. For the last person you want to be using to face Deontay Wilder is an offensive fighter like Freddie Roach. You know what I mean? He's not known for his defense. You're going to need defense against Wilder. So I don't understand the logic behind it. I guess Wilder may knock out Fury after all. Yes, Brandon Rios is facing Canelo Alvarez's brother, Ramon Alvarez. I don't know how that will turn out. Jared Miller's facing Bogdan Dinu. Luis Ortiz supposed to face Travis Kaufman. I don't know if you guys know all these people, but it is what it is. The undercard of Canelo versus Rocky Fielding is probably underwhelming. So the undercard here, it's promoted by, of course, Golden Boy. So Saddam Ali will be on that undercard. David Lemieux is going to be facing Toriano Johnson. Whoa. Toriano Johnson can fight on the inside, so it is very possible Toriano Johnson could win this fight. But Lemieux is looking for a shot at Canelo. Ryan Garcia, who is understudy for Canelo, he's going to be in the undercard, as well as Virgil Ortiz and Lamont Roach Jr. I just don't think he can face Toriano Johnson's a very, very good fighter. It was just that Derevchenko was able to beat him and stop it. He is coming off of a stoppage loss, so we'll see. Toriano Johnson's a good fighter. Right, so that's a good matchup. David Lemieux versus Toriano Johnson. That's a good undercard matchup. Ryan Garcia going to be there. That's basically it, really. So let's see how that turns out. Rocky Fielding versus Canelo Alvarez. I'm talking about tickets and all of that. I don't know what the venue. What's the venue? It's Matchroom and Golden Boy. Where's it going to be taking place, though? They didn't say. Oh, Madison Square Garden. Okay. Cool. So there you go. I don't know if I'm hot up on that, but here's what it is. Tom Sawyer. Now in you would trash both those guys. Which guys are that again? Tom Sawyer says Mayweather is getting KO'd. That's funny, man. In an exhibition match, possibly. I don't know. I don't think so. Tom Sawyer, Fury can win. It's a 50-50 fight. Not with Freddie Roach in this corner. Tom Sawyer, Peter Quillen is spent. What? You serious? Have you seen Peter Quillen's last fight? You guys silly, man. You guys are joking. Peter Quillen, you do understand Peter Quillen faced an opponent after Danny Jacobs, right? And stop the guy, right? He faced Jalen Love. He beat him. He beat Deshaun Johnson after facing Daniel Jacobs. So he's been fighting. No, he ain't spent. You know what I mean? Okay. So no, absolutely not. Peter Quillen is still a force to be reckoned with. I don't know if he's going up in weight, but I think he's going to be facing Caleb Truax. So that should be interesting. Yeah, that should be an interesting fight. Fury will stop Wilder late. That ain't happening. Fury ain't stopping Wilder. And I don't think Wilder's stopping Fury. So I think this fight will go 12 rounds. Actually, let me think about that. Tyson Fury lost a lot of weight to have this fight. That's the first thing. The second thing is Tyson Fury has certain moves and stuff, which is good and all of that. But I'm thinking of all that weight he lost, man. In the later rounds, Fury may be fading. And Wilder may be picking it up because of all the weight he lost. That's what I'm worried about. If he's got the energy and can take the punches that Wilder's giving him, which he should be able to do once he has the defense up. The thing I just don't get is why do you have Freddie Roach in your corner? Like, Freddie Roach is not the guy to have in your corner at this point in time. You need defense. Once he's defensively sound, it doesn't really matter what Wilder does. because your defense is on point. And it's all about angles and pivoting. Wilder could be as athletic as he could be. It had nothing to do with boxing. Boxing's not about that. It's about angles. So if I cut you off at an angle, you could be, moving and doing all kinds of fancy things with your foot, and you just burning a whole set of energy on the outside, while I just pivot one way and I close off that angle, and I'm defensively protected. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing you can do. It's all about angles. So if I stay in my position and I just pivot, that's it. I cut off your angle. Doesn't really matter. So that's the thing with boxing. That's what people don't understand. Take, for instance, a guy like Mikey Garcia, right? And you got a guy like Errol Spence. Mikey Garcia may be the smaller guy, but here's the joke. If he's defensively responsible and he has a tight defense, his defense will involve his legs, though. You'll have to move his legs quite a lot, and not in major ways, in small ways, in increments, in small pivots, just slightly pivoting all the time. He's not ever directly in front of Spence. When Spence cuts a big angle, you got to cut an angle to keep on Spence's weak side. What I mean by that is how Mikey Garcia is going to fight Spence, a southpaw, he going to keep to the outside of Spence. So if Spence is okay, so let me see if I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So if I'm southpaw, this is me here. I'm southpaw. Right? You guys see me? See my stance right here? I'm a southpaw right now. Right? Can you see me? Hopefully you guys can see me. Okay. So I'm southpaw right now. Right? Can you see me? Can you see me? Southpaw. All right. Now in this southpaw stance, Danny Garcia is not going to circle this way, but he'd be circling to my power hand. Floyd Mayweather and those guys do that. He gonna do textbook. He gonna circle this way. He gonna circle the other way, away from my power hand. Okay. He gonna circle more into my right. Okay. The power hand's my left. So Errol Spence, he's gonna throw a jab. Danny Garcia is gonna try and split the jab to the outside of the jab. If I throw a jab this way, Mikey's gonna go this way. Okay. Errol will try and close him down this way. Errol gonna try and follow him up and close him down this way. And Mikey gonna just take a little pivot, skip, and pivot out of that. So Mikey don't have to stay on the ropes. And he's constantly getting Errol to turn clockwise. So Errol will be turning clockwise while Mikey is going clockwise as well. So he's always on the weak side of Errol. Mikey got to stay on the outside of Errol. Okay? He cannot allow Errol to have lead foot position on him either. So these are two things in boxing he's going to have to focus on. And that's something, again, a lot of people don't understand. This is boxing. This is technique. It's not just about athleticism. It's not how athletic you are. Athleticism don't mean nothing in boxing. It's about angles. It's about mathematics. It's about positioning. It's about where you are in that ring. It's tactical. It's chess, not checkers. So Mikey got to stay on the outside of Errol Spence. Errol Spence going to try and land hooks and stuff on him if he can't get his jab to come off. Mikey just got to make small little movements with his head. Small little movements with his body, changing levels, just slight little things he do, change an offset Spence. When Spence looks like he's gonna close down on Mikey, Mikey's out of there, right? Small foot movements, just small little pivots to get position. Once he gets position, light it up, straight right. Okay, so that's how you do it, and that's how you had to do it against Errol Spence. Errol Spence cannot counterpunch him with the lead left. You're gonna have to try and close him off. With his footwork, he's gonna try and anticipate where Mikey is, and when Mikey goes to Spence's power hand, he can circle out a little bit and then skip out. He had to bounce. He had to bounce to get out of the way, and when Spence comes to him, they can bounce back and reset. You understand? You guys don't understand what I'm saying. So let me see if I can show you in terms of little hands, right? So let's say this here is Spence. And this is his left hand right here. This is power hand right here. This is Spence here. This is Mikey in front of Spence. Mikey gonna be circling this way, and when Spence closes it down here, Mikey gonna bounce. He gonna bounce this way. When Spence comes here, he gonna bounce this way. Spence gonna try and close him, bounce back this way. Spence gonna try and close in here, and then he gonna just shuffle and pivot around Spence. So he turns Spence like that. You come in and pivot, or you come in and clinch and turn him. You see? I don't know if you guys can see anything I just said, but it's important for you guys to understand what I'm saying. So in boxing, you have to know what you're doing inside that ring. Okay. Spence wanted to get him to the ropes, hook him, and start landing those hooks on him. And if he can't do it there, he's going to try and snipe him with a straight left. What Lamont Peterson did that was stupid was he stood directly in front of Spence walking to him, right? You don't do that. You got to keep on, you're moving in increments, and you're circling. You have to circle Spence, right? And then Spence going to try and get lead foot position to land that straight left. Tom Sawyer says Fury will stop Wilder late. Nah. Tommy Temper says, hi, Anson and Tom. Hey, man, Tommy Temper is about a long time no see, man. Tommy Temper says, I hope you're right about Fury, Tom. Man, Fury got a lot going against him. So we'll see. He seems very confident in everything. He's working away in Big Bear, you know. He still got a lot of work. You know, we got to see if Fury's got some tricks up his sleeve. No doubt about it. My thing is, you know, based on the fight I saw with Tony Bellew versus Alexander Usyk, where Bellew burned himself out. I'm wondering if Fury gonna burn himself out because of all that weight he lost. Now, if Fury has the endurance and stamina at that lower weight, he gonna have the quickness and speed as well, and he can go for 12 rounds, go for 14 rounds, 15 rounds, maybe even 16 rounds like that, and receive some punishment in between, and still keep it going and keep it physical and everything. He gonna be okay. It's my problem with Fury is his stamina and how long he can last. And I truly believe this fight is going to go the distance. I don't think Deontay is going to knock out Tyson Fury. If Fury's not affected by all that weight loss, he's not affected by that weight loss, and Fury has a strong mind. This fight is going to go the distance. Who's going to win the fight? That's another story. Who the judges feel like they want to give it to. It doesn't matter if Fury outboxed if he outboxes Wilder. If he outboxes Wilder, it doesn't mean nothing. Wilder might still get the decision, depending on how Wilder looks. And, Wilder can get your attention with just big looping shots and him just throwing stuff. And Wilder's not going to sit around there and not throw stuff. He's not going to be like Klitschko. Just not going to happen. So that's the only thing that bothers me is Fury losing all that weight, and will it affect him in the fight? That's the question. And you can't have no excuses at the end of that fight. So we'll see. He did lose the weight a while ago, so weight loss is the unknown until fight night. Yep, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I don't understand why he would put Freddie Roach in his camp. I noticed his father's not training him, nor his uncles. So that's also a very interesting thing. He's kind of on his own with this one. We'll see how that means. Of course, he's still got the inherent tendencies and skills that he always had, and he has a trainer that was always there with him. So we'll see. I don't know. But he has all the skills and abilities, like I said before, to outbox Wilder. So I'm still rolling with Fury for the win. I'm not changing my decision. It's Tyson Fury all the way. Tommy Temper says, Freddie's just a cut man. Freddie? A cut man? What's Freddie doing? I think, you know what? I think Tyson Fury is being in Freddie's gym, so he has Freddie as a part of it. So that, Freddie can say he is part of the legacy, because it make no sense that Freddie's even there. Freddie don't belong in there. Freddie don't do no defense. I don't understand. But it is what it is. I know Freddie believes that Tyson Fury could beat Deontay Wilder, and he's picked, Tyson Fury to beat Deontay Wilder, but for Tyson Fury to pick Freddie to be part of his camp is just dumb. Freddie doesn't have a good track record with defense. And Tyson's going to need that defense when he's facing Deontay Wilder. He's going to need that defense. Once his defense is on point, you good. You good. Even if you dog tired, you just keep your defense tight. You'll be all right. You won't win the fight because you got to throw punches as well, but you'll be all right. So that's the kicker. Is Tyson? There are a lot of questions. He's not rusty because he faced 2 fights. He's up for this fight. So, Tommy Temper says, psychological edge with Freddie? There's no psychological edge with Freddie. What edge? What psychological? And then Deontay Wilder has uh, one of the best welterweights ever to do it as his trainer, Freddie Roach. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder, right? You know who trains Deontay Wilder? You guys know who trains Deontay Wilder? Do you guys know who trains Deontay Wilder? You guys got any idea who trains Deontay Wilder? Mark Breland, man. Mark Breland knows how to box. Okay? Freddie Roach got nothing on Mark Breland in terms of his career as a boxer. Mark Breland produced this boxer, Deontay Wilder. Okay? Jay Diaz is the head trainer. Okay, and you have Russ Amber, but Mark Breland's the mastermind behind Deontay Wilder. Okay, so I mean, you ain't doing any psychological nothing by getting Freddie Roach in there. It's just not happening. So I mean, go watch Mark Breland's record, man. Breland did get stopped by another fighter. Another story for another day. I don't like Thomas Hearns. They both came from the Crunk Gym and stuff like that, but still. TYKTO. What does that mean, my friend? Shout out to you. You seem to be in Russian or something. You're Russian. This is a new person here. Somebody, their name is in Russian or something. They got Tom Sawyer, we got Tommy Temper, and we got this guy with a Russian name. And he said, thank you, KTO, which means knock the, I guess, KTFO, knocked out, not clean out. Tommy Temper says, does he know how to teach Wilder boxing, not just banging? Dude, Wilder been boxing really well, man. Y'all tripping, man. Wilder is a very, how you get a bronze medal in the Olympics if you don't know how to box? Think about that for a second. Wilder knows how to box, but he's also a showman. When he gets his opponent in trouble, he starts throwing these wild shots and all kinds of crazy athletic stuff he does. And he just kind of goes gung-ho crazy against his opponent. But he already knows his opponent's completely hurt, can't fire back. That's when he starts to be crazy and wild. All right? But if you really paying attention, Wilder be boxing really nice. He has a nice sharp jab that he uses. He also can hook off the jab. He also swivels on that thing. He gets hit with the swivel while he's swiveling, which is not good. But he tries to swivel. He tries to do some Floyd Mayweather moves, like he tries to shuffle back. He tries to shuffle to the side. You know, he tries to come off with different angles when he's shooting his shots. You can see they've been watching Floyd Mayweather a bit, and he's trying to imitate that, trying to take little pieces of different things. They do all kinds of things up in there. Don't get it twisted. Wilder can box. He can box. Gerald Washington was doing better against him until he started to tire out. But, you know, Wilder can box, okay? So don't get it twisted. Tommy Temper says he does smother his own work at times. When he go gung-ho crazy, he do all kind of crazy stuff, you know. But don't get it twisted. And his endurance, his stamina is really good. No, he can box. He can box. Tyson Fury is a much better boxer than he is. Luis Ortiz was a better boxer than he is. Gerald Washington was a better boxer than he is. And Gerald Washington was landing that jab on him. You know, the jab to the pit. That's something Tyson Fury should utilize early in the game against Wilder. So Wilder's well conditioned. You gotta slow him down one way or the other. So Tyson Fury should think about that. Similarly, Wilder should think about the jab to the pit. That's a nice weapon, you know. And both of them should think about it, you know. I think this. I agree. Like Ben from Fight Hype. I think this fight could end up being a true 50-50 fight. It could end up in a draw. It literally could end up. Wilder versus Fury could end up in a draw. Believe it or not. It could be one of those fights that you talk about for a long time. It could really be that kind of fight. It depends on if Fury, he can have the conditioning to keep going, because Fury is very active. as much as people don't know, he moves quite a lot. He's quick, very quick for a big tall guy. He's gonna be quicker than ever because he's gonna be in really ridiculous shape. So if Fury's in that kind of shape, you know, Fury versus Wilder gonna be an interesting fight. People think Wilder gonna catch up with him later on in the fight, or Wilder's gonna try and figure him out and start to figure out his movements and stuff, which would be cool. I would want this fight to be competitive. I think it's going to be a competitive fight, very competitive fight. I think the two fighters don't have that much experience at heavyweight, so they're going to learn from each other. And I think this could be a great fight. And if it turns out to be a great heavyweight fight, where, you know, the guys are kind of, they match each other pretty well, then it means they're going to do it again at some point in time, you know. And then we don't need to see Anthony Joshua versus either of them, because I honestly think that Anthony Joshua doesn't have good pivot work. He doesn't have good footwork. He stays planted too much. He's flat-footed most of the time. And both Wilder and Fury, they're not flat-footed fighters. And I would say that, I know this sounds strange, but I think Wilder is he's not as complete a boxer as Joshua, but I think he's a better boxer than Joshua. In terms of he moves, his foot movement is better. I think that he does a lot of other things defensively. Joshua mostly blocks and covers, whereas Wilder can, swivel. He can split the jab. He can, he doesn't do it perfectly, but, he can dip. He can, bob and weave a little bit. Not bob and weave, but mostly snap back, and, he does those head feints and stuff like that. So, you have to give Wilder these props. He's not perfect at anything because, remember, he started late. But he's got, he's not sharp, in other words, in most things. He's sharp in some things, but not in all things. So you got to give him his props where his props are due. Hold on a second. I got to check out my mom here and my cousin, my little nephews and stuff are up in there, my little cousins. Tommy Temper says, I wish it was the Fury that beat Vlad. He did beat Vladimir. Tommy Temper says, Fury's power is underrated, in my opinion. Yeah, and he could catch Wilder with something. You never know. Somebody could get dropped. Maybe two of them can get dropped. You just never know. It could be a very exciting fight. So we got to see. I'm not sure who exactly would win. I'm just picking Fury because I think Fury is the better boxer. But at the end of the day, I can't say for certain who will win. I was backing Fury. Then when Freddie Roach goes in his corner, I'm like, why am I backing Fury? Why would he pick Freddie Roach? That's a dumb choice, I would think. But it is what it is, It is what it is. Tommy Temper, you just said, I can't believe you. You just said Hearns by KO. Dude, come on. Against Oscar De La Hoya, you pick Hearns by KO? You really serious, man? Like, really? You didn't watch my video, man. There's no way Hearns is knocking out Oscar De La Hoya. Just not happening. Never happened. But I do see Oscar knocking out Hearns. I can see that. I see that any day, anytime. Now, Tommy Temper, come on, man. Who's the Russian dude, and what's your name, man? Tony Montana. I love winding you up. And you laughing. See? That's all you trying to do. You trying to bait people, man. Tommy Hearns. You serious, man? Come on, man. Thomas here, man. Tommy Hearns can't do nobody nothing. Tommy Hearns was bad. He was bad at welterweight. He put to sleep Pipino Cuevas, right? But let's be real, folks. Pipino Cuevas was a flat-footed fighter, okay? Oscar's not a flat-footed fighter, man. Come on. By record KO. Man, come on. Hearns was going to sleep. Overhand right. Put your head down. Punch drunk. Started drift all around the ring. And just finish him off. Overhand right, baby. Going to sleep. Yeah, I know. Everybody, because see, everybody thinks of Hearns. Now, let me just say this: at middleweight, it would have been a different story, and if Oscar could have gone up to super middleweight, totally different story. All right, at super middleweight, if Oscar could have gotten up to that level, Hearns would have beat the crap out of Oscar. Okay, but to say at welter, no. Hearns got no chin at welter. And that's because he was not supposed to be at welter. He's just too big for a welter. Big dude. Look at the guy. It was like skin and bones, man. That's the definition on him. That's terrible. It dried him out completely. You know? So that's why he used to get rocked like that. But if you look, he take the shots really well at super middle. I think he faced Iron Barkley at light heavyweight. And he was taking them shots really nice. And he was fighting on the inside too. He had an inside game. So, you know, Hearns was he actually beat Sugar Ray Leonard in their rematch at super middle. He beat up Sugar Ray Leonard. Beat him bad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you know what happened with Diego Corrales when he came back down from lightweight to super featherweight to face Floyd? You saw how he got beat up real bad, right? He was getting beat up real bad because he was dehydrated. Hearns, you can't be that big a frame and expect that frame to be maintained at welterweight. Yeah, you big and strong. You can punch like a mule because you're so big. But at the end of the day, you know, something's going to give. And your stamina's going to be in the crapper. So if you don't knock that person out in the first 4 rounds, you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was a shell, man. He's too big for welter. He should have been at middle. That's why he jumped up to middle to face Hagler. He was a big dude. Big dude. Got knocked out by Hagler, but I mean, he a big dude. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care what Emmanuel Stewart said. Floyd would have knocked him out too. Or if he didn't stop him, okay, Floyd might not have stopped him. Because Floyd got, but I feel Floyd would have stopped him because Floyd has sufficient power to stop a guy like that. You know? Especially when he's so chinny. If he didn't stop him, he would have dropped him at least once. You know what I'm saying? He'd have dropped him or something. But yeah, I think so. But I think Oscar is smoking, man. I mean, come on, man, guys. Think about what I'm saying. Y'all have to think, man. Y'all have to think about what I'm saying. Oscar was smoking, man. I'm surprised everybody rates Hearns well, but what they rate Hearns on is when he was later in his career. You know, earlier on in his career, he was chinny. Nobody tests that chin because he was so bad, you know, and he was beating up all these flat-footed guys. When Sugar Ray Leonard touched that chin, he went to sleep. You know, because he knocked out Duran, and by the way, it wasn't no one-shot knockout. It was a setup. He was hitting Duran. Duran was getting hit all the time, and then he caught Duran with a shot. Duran freezed up, and he hit him a 1-2, put Duran to sleep. All right, that's what happened. But anyway, Duran was knocked down a couple times. But the point is, everybody say he got this one-punch knockout power, but they forget that he didn't have no chin at that weight class. You know, yeah, he busted up Hagler's face, but Hagler walked through that. But then again, Hagler wasn't using the double guard properly. He was just being macho and saying, bring it. You know what I'm saying? And they just scrapped. You know what I'm saying? Hagler knew he was a bigger, stronger guy, so he knew he was going to get Hearns. And he rocked him, right? That was just a scrap. That wasn't nothing else. They just went out there and they started scrapping. and you know, it was some bombs dropping. So, and he busted up Hagler's nose, right? Busted up Hagler's nose, but yeah, that was the good old days when guys just let it rip. They just let it rip. Sometimes they just throw technique out the window and just let it rip. So it was a scrap. First 3 rounds. Very exciting because it was just a scrap. Hearns came out blazing, trying to get Hagler out of there, which was not going to happen. Hagler had too good a defense for that. And sparked Hearns out. Touch that chin, baby. Touch that chin, and that was all she wrote. Was an overhand right. He shifted and he hit him with an overhand right. Knocked Hearns all the way across the ring. chased him down and finished him off, right? I mean, put him to sleep, right? And that's the same. That's the story of Hearns all the way through. Since Sugar Ray Leonard rocked him, put him, knocked him out, knocked him down out the ring, then he got back up and he was just hanging on the ring there, and the ref had to call the fight. Since that time, folk knew they could rock him, But he did good. I remember he outboxed not Vernon Forrest. I forgot what the guy's name is. He outboxed that dude. Hold on a second, folks. I gotta go see how my mom's doing in a minute, because it kind of distressed me when she said she was in some serious pain. Hearns has brain damage. Speech is a bit slow. Yeah, he got punched drunk. He got rocked to the head, bro. He got messed up. Yeah, but hey, Hearns at cruiser, Hearns at anything above super, anything above middleweight. He was a big strong dude. Filled out, big strong dude. And Sugar Ray Leonard acknowledged that. He was like, "Oh man, I'm afraid to fight that dude." But he flattened Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I'm saying? He should have beaten him. He got a little punch drunk at the end, but stamina issues. But yeah, he was beating the daylights out of Sugar Ray Leonard. Beat the daylights out of him. So yeah, that's what it is. Talking about some other boxing news here. Let me talk a couple more things here, because we got a couple things. Felix Verdejo, who got his second round stoppage of a dude who just came in to get punched up. It looks like he's going to be fighting in the United States in early 2019. 2019 looks like it's going to be fireworks, man. We got all these kind of incredible fights next year. Who was it? I think it was either Dillian White or Chisora was talking about how Luis Ortiz is a punk, and he was just, he just joking around. He don't want to face them guys, and I think somebody said they're gonna flatten him or some kind of craziness like that. you know how these boxers be trash talking each other. Let me see what's going on here. I don't know how the pay-per-view is selling concerning Wilder versus Fury. I don't know if it's a big deal or not. But it is what it is. Lamont Peterson said he was agreed to face Lipnitz. Some other guy named Uz Takwi wants to beat up Caleb Plant. Good luck on that, buddy. Ladarius Miller, man. Ladarius Miller is going to be facing Ricardo Garcia. So that's what's going to be on the Mayweather. It actually is going to be the feature on the Mayweather card. So Mayweather Promotions will be doing their things, and of course, Las Vegas. And Ladarius Miller, man, he made it to the top of the card. He's 17-1, 5 KOs. So he's going to be facing Ricardo Garcia in the 10-round lightweight showdown. So there you go. You got all those upcoming fights. Of course, just follow up on Bevo versus Pascal. Bevo says, "I'm confident I'll make a statement with Pascal," so that should be interesting. Bevo can do all kinds of stuff. I like how he mixes up his punches, and he has decent defense, so it should be interesting. Danny Garcia is saying that he's backing Adrian Broner by a smidge to upset Manny Pacquiao. I was listening to Terrence Crawford. Not Terrence Crawford. What's his name? I was listening to what's his name? He's an announcer now, Timothy Bradley, right? I was listening to Timothy Bradley, and he was saying he picks Manny Pacquiao to beat Adrian Broner. And the reasoning he gave was that Manny Pacquiao, what did he say? I'm trying to remember what Timothy Bradley said. He said that Manny Pacquiao, what do you guys think about this? Timothy Bradley was saying he picked Manny Pacquiao to beat Adrian Broner. He said Adrian Broner's tough and all of that, and he expects Adrian to try and bring it, but Manny Pacquiao was closes the show well. And he said the work rate of Manny Pacquiao as well as the movement of Manny Pacquiao, he thinks is going to be what will ensure Manny Pacquiao wins that fight. And he says Manny Pacquiao's got a lot of experience, having faced him 3 times, he realized that. And I agree. I mean, I also heard Jesse Vargas say the same thing. And Jesse Vargas had faced both Broner and Pacquiao. And he was saying that Pacquiao would more than likely beat Broner. And I agree. I agree 100% that I think Pacquiao will beat Broner. I don't know what you guys' opinion on that is. Leave your comments there, man. We talking boxing. We talking boxing all the way through. Um, Errol Spence is saying that some people think that Mikey Garcia is crazy. This is a legacy fight. I would say this: Mikey Garcia is doing something pretty gutsy. So it's a gutsy move on his part. Hold on a second, though, people. I just gotta go check my mom because I've been talking to you guys. I'm enjoying this discussion, but my mind's on my mom all the time. I'm a little bit worried, so let me just see what's going on. I'm gonna be right back, though. Right back. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. I had to step away from here, tend to family business. It's very important to keep our priorities intact. Forgot to press stop. Low. No, Tommy Temper. I did not forget to press stop. It's just that I had to step away, deal with family business. Anyways, it was nice talking with you guys about boxing. It's always nice. I like talking about boxing a little bit. It's nice to meet you guys. It's a privilege to talk with people. And it's a privilege to share about God as well to people. Uh, it's just a privilege to do a lot of things. And Gilberto Ramirez, it seems as though he's going to rematch Jesse Hart on December 14th. So that's some other extra news right there. Of course, Dillian White is rematching Derek Chisora. So that's all well and good as well. So, these are the fights that we're looking at. Keith Thurman versus Jose Tito Lopez. The real fight that I'm really enthusiastic for is Danny Garcia versus Adrian Granados. I would love to see how that works out. So that's basically it. Apparently, Joe Smith Jr. is saying if I could land on BWF as Tesora Johnson did, I'll finish him. I don't think that's Tesora Johnson. I don't know who Johnson this is. But, yeah. So we got this sort of thing that's out here. Felix Verdeo's manager is saying the winner of Maurice Hooker versus Saucedo. Well, Hooker beat Saucedo. So they're talking about Felix Verdeo facing that Hooker then, I guess. That's interesting. I don't think that's a good idea, but that's what they want. And then last thing I'm going to talk about is where Tyson Fury talks about how he tears apart Deontay Wilder's biggest career wins. Tyson Fury really pushed that fight, man. He really promoted the daylights out of that fight. And I think he's going to come ready. So this is what Tyson Fury had to say. His last 6 fights are the only fights that really count. Remains Tavern, a small heavyweight who was old and finished. Johan Duhapas, a Frenchman that has no ability but tries hard. Wilder didn't hurt him once in the fight. Eric Molina, a school teacher who got lucky. Took him 9 months to get rid of him. Arthur Spilka, who lost all his fights by knockout, even up until today. A bit of movement, and he gave him problems. Gerald Washington, a football player with a bit of a jab. He gave him problems for 5 rounds until he landed. Not a boxer, though. Then there was Luis Ortiz, who, forgetting his age, was a good man, but we know Father Time catches up with everybody. Fury himself has not faced a real test since beating Vladimir Klitschko back in 2015. The 30-year-old was banned from the ring after that fight, after failing drug tests. Fury's 2 recent comeback fights have provided little information as how he will deal with the WBC champion Wilder. But boxer Derek Chisora feels his British counterpart will struggle against the American. I'm always going to go rooting for the Union Jack, but I believe this fight has come too soon and Fury has taken the fight too early, Chisora said. He has got his own demons that he had to fight first. He's saying that to people that he's not fighting those demons anymore, and I find that hard to believe. So I found this very interesting, that readout right there. BoxingScene.com is a place where you can get most of the information on boxing. So check out BoxingScene.com for some of the boxing news that you will want to see. It's pretty good. Liam Taylor beats Tyrant. I don't know what that's about. Some of these fights are not main fights, so you won't hear me talking about them. But if you were really into boxing, you will be interested in that. There's also the Daily Mail bag where Stephen Bredman Edwards tries to give his take on certain things, and it's interesting. Let's just go through some of that, just highlighting BoxingScene.com a little bit. 2 fighters that I think were the best ever at that weight. Love to hear your opinion. Muhammad Ali when he fought Cleveland Williams versus Larry Holmes when he fought Jerry Cooney. I like Ali, but close cruiserweight Carlos De Leon versus Evander Holyfield. I like light heavyweight Ezra Charles versus Michael Spinks. Super middleweight Joe Kazaki versus Roy Jones Jr. These are guys from different eras. This is fantasy matchups. and they were both in their prime. I know they thought, but Roy was way past it. Like when I like Roy middleweight, Roy Jones versus Ray Robinson. I like Robinson. Junior middleweight, Tommy Hearns versus Terry Norris. I like Tommy. Welterweight, Leonard versus Robinson. I like Leonard. Junior welterweight, Mayweather versus Aaron Pryor. I like Floyd. Lightweight, Whitaker versus Bobby Duran. I like myself. Junior uh, Pernell. Junior lightweight, Macho Camacho versus Floyd Mayweather. I like Floyd. And featherweight, Salvador Sanchez versus Loma. I like Loma. Thank you. Can't wait to hear your responses. Howie from New Jersey. Howie's from New Jersey. He's talking. So Brad responded, I don't see an opponent for Holyfield. Charles slightly over Spence. That would be Ezra Charles over Spence. Jones, but I'm guessing. Kalzaki is hard to determine because we didn't see him versus the guns in their primes. Robinson, but I'm guessing again, Jones was a lot bigger. Roy Jones Jr. was bigger than Robinson. We all know this. And people giving Sugar Ray Robinson the win over Roy Jones Jr. I think Roy Jones Jr. was a lot faster, though. So I don't know. And he was an outside fighter. So if Robinson could get on the inside, Robinson could beat him. Hearns big over Norris. Terry Norris. Yeah, of course. What weight class, though? What weight class was that? Hearns versus Norris at what weight class? He said. Terry Norris, I like. Tommy, junior middleweight. Okay, Tommy Hearns versus Terry Norris, junior middleweight. Let me think about that. Tommy Hearns versus Terry Norris. Terry the Terror Norris. I actually got Terry Norris over Hearns on that one. I'm sorry about that. Robinson over Leonard. I love Leonard, but no one beats Robinson at 147. Dude, you are, man, these guys are a joke. Leonard would beat the brakes off of Robinson. Why? Well, there are two reasons. One, Robinson had a decent jab, but so did Leonard. Leonard was smart, really, really smart. Robinson was skilled and all of that, but he was mostly fighting flat-footed fighters. Leonard would outclass him. There's two reasons. Leonard was able to watch Robinson for his entire career. Two, as much as Robinson was quick and all of that, and threw a lot of hooks to the body and stuff, he wouldn't land none of them hooks to the body against Leonard because Leonard actually had a defense that he would snap sideways. So he would snap back sideways. Robinson would find himself out of range because Leonard had virtual distance on his side, as well as Leonard had the double guard, the high guard, all that stuff. So Leonard had actually better defense than Robinson had. Robinson got hit a little too much. So I would not have Robinson beat Leonard. No way, Jose. As much as he was quick at 147, and I got clips of him at 147, he ain't nothing compared to Leonard. You know who Robinson remind me of? Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley a little shorter than Robinson, a little stockier, but basically Sugar Shane Mosley is a Sugar Ray Robinson. If you watch how he moves, his animations, how he shuffles and everything, Atlanta was just so much more dynamic than Sugar Ray Robinson. Okay, Atlanta would outbox him. Okay, in fact, Sugar Shane Mosley is as strong as you are. It's not about strength; it's about skills. And I would pick Sugar Ray Leonard over Sugar Shane Mosley. Yeah, I pick Leonard over Sugar Shane Mosley. Yeah, I would. Aaron Pryor, too busy, too mean, too indefatigable at 140. Oh, Pryor versus Floyd? That mean nothing. It's not how busy you are. We saw Floyd discipline Pacquiao, and he would discipline Aaron Pryor. Because Floyd's very strategic with what shots he pushes on you to shock you and put you back. And as much as Aaron Pryor would keep coming, he would just keep walking into shots. He would walk into shots. Floyd would set him up and walk him into shots. Now, Floyd would slow down his output because he would strategically hit certain parts of Aaron Pryor's body. Yeah, most of these boxers, when they were facing Aaron Pryor, would go to his head. Floyd would mix it up. He would go to his body and his head, especially that jab to the pit would be, Aaron Pryor would run into that over and over again. But Aaron Pryor was an incredible fighter, and he knew how to sort of stay just outside the range and then come inside. So it would be a good fight for Floyd at 140. But Floyd's just way too good for these guys, man. Too tight, too sharp, way sharp. You make a mistake, he will make you pay. You know, and Pride was a hell of a boxer. I would love to see Floyd versus Pride. Even, but I think you're giving Pride too many props. Uh, Too busy, too mean, too indefatigable means nothing. You got to be smart, and the smart boxer would always beat that guy. And Floyd would have been ready for him. Duran by here, but they would have to fight 3 times to decide. This is a nice fantasy matchup. I think this is Duran versus Whitaker versus Bobby Duran. You got the Bobby Duran by here? Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Whitaker all day, every day, all day. Flip a coin on Sanchez versus Loma. Yeah, Sanchez knew he found a will to win. He got his wins, man. I was undefeated at the end of his career, so that would have been a good fight. I got to think about that. Let me see what else I got for you guys before I get out of here, because I got to go get some stuff. I got to go shop. Hi, Brady. You probably have heard this before many times, but I wanted to ask you after Saturday night. Usyk versus Prime Holyfield at cruiserweight. Who you got? Man, that was a KO of the year. It's hard for me to pick against Holyfield in a head-to-head sense. Maybe 3 or 4 men in history could beat him. And that's maybe. Maybe Joe Louis, maybe Ezra Charles, maybe Joe Frazier, maybe Sam Langford, maybe Jack Johnson. Holyfield is a super monster, especially for a man close to his size. First of all, Brad keep on saying some dumb stuff. Joe Louis versus Evander Holyfield. Joe Louis was too slow on his feet, man. That's the problem. He had slow feet. He wasn't quick on his feet at all. He used pivots and stuff, but they're very economical. But as a charge would have whooped Holyfield's butt. I'm just telling you right now. Archie Moore too. In their prime times. Joe Frazier versus Muhammad Ali would have been a nice fight. Also, George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali. George Foreman in his prime would have been a hell for Holyfield. Langford. Sam Langford fought on the inside. Him and Holyfield would have been a nice little mix-up. Yeah. That would have been a nice little scrap, but Holyfield would have been the bigger guy, I think. Jack Johnson, not really. I don't think Jack Johnson would have beat Evander Holyfield. You may be wondering, maybe. I don't know. I think Holyfield had a lot more skills. He's a lot stronger. I think people underestimate the modern fighters compared to the ones before. It's okay. I can see Usyk outpointing him, but Usyk loses his share of rounds. He lost 506 to Bredis. He lost about 4 to Hunter. And Bellew is up at the time of the stoppage. But besides, Holyfield's first title versus Poirier was hard to get more than 2 rounds from him at cruiser. So if you twist my arm, I say Holyfield in a shootout. YouTube Holyfield versus Ricky Parkey and Kawhi 2 and Carlos De Leon. He was a force of nature at cruiserweight. Yep, he was. He's not a great boxer, though. You know, James Toney outboxed this day. You know what I mean? One great boxer. He liked to bang a lot. He liked to get on the inside and bang. That's what Holyfield was known for. He liked fighting bigger guys. You know, smaller guys, he got beat by smaller guys. So guys his size. So it's possible Usyk could. Well, Usyk's not that strong. That's the problem. You gotta be strong against Holyfield. Holyfield might rough up Usyk, beat him up. But there's also that going on. Usyk need distance to really beat you up. When you have special fighters like Holyfield and Usyk, they keep raising the bar sometimes. Y'all rating Usyk way too high. That's what I got to say. He ain't really fought nobody yet. Good call on that Usyk versus Bellew. I thought Usyk would watch him, but I actually had Bellew up before the stoppage. How did you have it scored, and where did you have Usyk in the pound-for-pound list? Bellew really flourished since moving up to light heavy. I was really impressed with Bellew. I was impressed with his performance with Usyk. He had nothing to be ashamed of. Usyk was no worse than the second best cruiserweight ever. He's no worse than the 5th best fighter in the world. He's legitimately great, and Bellew rumbled him tooth and nail. I thought Bellew was winning slightly, but you could see Usyk was honing in on Bellew. That's what great fighters do. They separate themselves late. You may stay tight for 4 or 8 rounds. At some point, the great fighters find a spot to take over. Usyk found a spot. He didn't find no spot. Bellew got tired. Y'all was a trip, man. Anyways, it is what it is. Yo. Let me see what you guys are saying. Tommy Temper said, Hearns rarely hurt Hagler. Not really, just bust his face. Hagler was tough as nails, in my opinion. You didn't see Hagler stuff coming forward. You didn't see him crumple up in a corner or something, or you didn't even see him wobble. Hearns has brain damage. Speed is a bit slow. Forgot to press the stop button. Pooby Sistrunk says, "What's up? What's up, Pooby Sistrunk? Shout out to you, man. We just talking some boxing here. We in boxingscene.com looking at some letters to bread here. All right, here's another one. I have a few PED and media observations. Why did Arias Lara leave the clean testing program? Yeah, man. We even seen VADA testing for Spence versus Garcia. I find that interesting. Even if he's not fighting at the WBC title program, the program is free. What's the point of leaving a free program that levels the playing field? Next is Shane Mosley Jr. Not sure if you watched The Contender, but Mosley Jr. made the finals. There's no way he should have made the finals. I'm from the LA area. He's a decent gym fighter, and that's it. He also tested possibly for PEDs in the past. I'm asking you, how come the media and press give certain guys passes? Even if you don't bring it up, according to you, a cheater is a cheater. What gives? I don't know why Lara left the clean testing program. I have no intimate knowledge on what happened on why. I did hear he's fighting Brian Castano at the WBA belt, but other than that, I don't know what happened. You're absolutely right about Mosley Jr. He had a positive ask also. All I can say is I never asked about this stuff before, and I can't bring up what I wasn't asked about. Mosley Jr. wasn't the blue chip prospect that everybody was talking about. I never even seen him fight before the Contender, so it's not like he's a big name. Lara does not get a pass from the media. I think the media is brutal on Lara. I have heard some prominent media members say some nasty stuff about Lara. I want to be fair with Lara. Leaving the program is not the same as testing positive. If we jump to conclusions, let's wait and see. I'll classify Lara as a cheater. First of all, Brett is defending this. This is the big issue I raised up with Tommy Temper. I've raised up with a lot of you guys out there. And it's about PEDs and people using PEDs a lot. And it's very true. You know, Tony Temper and I was talking about that. The press really gives a pass on this. They don't talk. They don't cover this much. I only saw it for Mayweather versus Pacquiao, and the guy had an agenda. And so I'm just saying, all these guys, somebody got to hold them accountable, and we got to talk about these PEDs a lot more. You know what I mean? And how these guys are getting tested. So, yeah, it is strange that Lara just left the Nevada testing when it's free. He should have stayed with that. He didn't. He left it. It's year round. So I find that very interesting. In my last email, I write the weight to measure arm length and reach, and accidentally ended up writing height and reach. So armpit to the fist, arm length, and fist to fist for reach. Cool. Two questions for you. I have noticed that Floyd usually does not dance circles. He fights at arm's distance and will pivot out if you try to corner him. Having said that, there have been fights where he moved around a lot. Early rounds of my Dana rematch come to mind. I don't know that it's hard to throw anything other than jabs while constantly moving because you have to plant your foot a little longer to throw any type of power punch, but I generally feel Floyd's punch output goes down whenever he moves too much. This could cost him against certain types of fighters. I mean, could you see Floyd doing to Chavez what Whitaker did to him? Because I cannot. From what I saw, I felt Whitaker outboxed Chavez, but not because Chavez could not cut off the ring, but because Whitaker's unparalleled ability to throw punches while moving and his inside game. Floyd does not have great inside game, but I honestly consider Mayer versus Chavez a 50-50 fight from 130 to 140. Floyd wins at 147 due to sheer strength. My question to you is, how would you rate Floyd's ability to throw punches while moving, and how do you see him doing against Chavez? First of all, man, this dude, first of all, Floyd does throw punches while moving. That's what he does. He punches on the pivot. Sometimes he punches while pivoting. Sometimes he punches after a pivot. So he throws punches while moving. That's common sense, right? They say Floyd's best weight class was 130. Can you throw some light on how his style was different back then? Really, seriously, dude, go watch his move. Go watch his fighting, man. Watch his fighting. He was more aggressive and more, what would we say? He was more going in for the kill and stopping people. Has there ever been a great long-range buddy punch? I mean, hooks, not people who just throw buddy jabs. Roger Jones Jr. used to throw hooks in the long range, but not often to the body. Can you think of someone who would regularly throw hooks to the body in long range? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean by long range? That'd be stupid. You don't loop shots. You have to get in close to throw hooks to the body. You know, we got Chavez. We got Errol Spence Jr. doing that right now. There's a couple of guys who do body punches. Canelo does that. I mean, body shots, man. Throwing combinations to the body. Who's another body combination of puncher I know of? Throw a lot of body shots. Got a couple of them. Derevchenko comes to mind. You know, Similarly, has there ever been a boxer who used to regularly throw uppercuts in long range? I see Roy throw it a few times. First of all, you don't throw an uppercut in long range. You want to get yourself knocked out? All right, that's dumb, right? Most people do short chopping uppercuts. You know, Marcus McDonough. I mean, it's a bunch of them. Unusual mythical matchup. Mike McCallum versus Iron Barkley at 160. Mike McCallum all day, every day, all day of the week. Mike McCallum. Iron Barkley's not that complete a fighter. He's going to get knocked out by Mike McCallum because Mike McCallum's going to religiously work the body. Guys who punch literally while they're moving are stick and movers. Floyd can stick and move, but I wouldn't classify him as a stick and mover. Yep, that's correct, Brett. You got it. Ali's the greatest stick and mover of them all. Larry Holmes had a great stick and move game. Willie Pepper's good or better than Ali. More recently, Sambu Kalimbe could stick and move his butt off. I believe, and believe it or not, it's not the best current stick and mover is. And believe it or not, the best current stick and mover is B.J. Saunders, Willie Joe Saunders. He's nasty with it. All right, so yes, Floyd is not a stick and move. He can do a lot of other things, but Floyd can stick and move. But Floyd does a lot more than just bouncing and sticking and moving like that. He also uses a system of pivots. Floyd can definitely punch on the move. He punched, thank you very much. He punched on the move brilliantly versus Corrales. He not tell which shot was coming, and Floyd switched them up all night, as well as he also does what's called a leaping left hook. He comes with the lead right hand. He does a lot of stuff. All right. Maidana's pressure was different from Corrales. Maidana had crazy frenetic pressure. On top of that, he was dirty, so Floyd couldn't stand his ground and be comfortable. Corrales was a great fighter, but his pressure was easier for Floyd to predict and compute. Also, Maidana had a nice, decent jab, and he was doing like scrapping. Maidana was scrapping like guy that come to my mind. Two great fighters that do that. Roberto Duran was more predictable, right? He used pool counters and stuff to get on the inside and then maul you on the inside. Maidana was mauling you on the inside, but he was basically throwing some wild shots as well. He wasn't as organized as Marcus McDonough. The other thing, though, is Maidana reminds me of this dude. I'm going to tell you just now. I'm typing in Sugar Ray Robinson. Oh, just Ray Robinson. Yeah. All right, hold on a second. Sugar Ray Robinson. It's the guy that first beat Sugar Ray Robinson. I forgot his name. You guys know what I'm talking about. Jake LaMotta. All right, so Jake LaMotta was more organized than Marcus McDonough, less reckless than Marcus McDonough, but nonetheless, raging bull. Jake LaMotta. He was a raging bull. And Marcus McDonough is like a raging bull. He's a dude that's pretty intense. Marcus McDonough come with huge intensity. He's not as accurate as Roberto Duran. He doesn't do as much things as Roberto Duran does on the inside, but man, he's ruthless. And he was big and strong, powerful. So Marcus McDonough outweighed Floyd by like 19 pounds, 20 pounds, right? Much bigger dude. So what happened with Floyd when he was dealing with Marcus McDonough, because he decided to use range and sort of stick and move him early in the fight, and then he started to sit down on his punches and really started to beat the brakes out of him later on, Maidana's okay, so that's what he's talking about. I would rate Floyd's ability to throw punches on the move very high. It's not just his go-to tactic as far as boxing. Floyd versus Chavez at 130-40 is very tough to call. I agree with you. Chavez is not really a welterweight. He only weighed 142 versus Whitaker. It's not fair to compare him at welterweight. The thing about it is, though, Whitaker was circling Chavez and confusing him by throwing jabs on the pivot going backwards. That's what Whitaker was spinning. He was turning Chavez, turning him, and then he's pot-shotting him to death. Floyd wouldn't do that against Chavez. He would do a lot of other things. And Chavez would think he's cornered Floyd in the corner, started to unleash his punches, and realize he's hitting nothing but air, and then Floyd would just counter-punch the daylights out of him. All right? Floyd likes doing that, okay? He likes you to think that you're just wasting the whole set of energy throwing at air and shoulders and stuff like that. Floyd laughed at Oscar De La Hoya when he was doing that stuff. And same thing with Roberto Duran. Floyd would have fun with Roberto Duran, seeing Roberto Duran try to rough him up, get on the inside, just like Marcus McDonough did, because Duran would be more specific about what he would try to do on the inside against Floyd. But then Floyd got that dipping, motion a la Pernick Whitaker, and you dip and bump Duran out the way, and then you get his positioning like James Toney, and he start landing them punches on the inside in the spaces between where Whitaker was trying to throw his punches, a la that great fighter, also known as that Argentinian fighter. I forgot his name right now. I'll get his name right now. Here it is. Nicolina Loach. Check out Nicolina Loach, man. He's a bad boy. Bad boy defensively. Floyd got that skill that Nicolina Loach got. So Floyd got all of that going on for him. That's what y'all don't understand. Y'all gotta learn boxing. Y'all gotta look up the boxing, man. Boxing is a sport that you gotta look it up. So Floyd got a defense like something like Nicolina Loach. You ain't hitting Floyd. You're just not hitting him. He can be laughing all the time because he knows how to work his defense. And the funny thing about it is when Duran will be chasing him all around the ring and he still not be hitting him. And I'll tell you a guy that gave Duran all kinds of problems, all right? Because y'all don't know boxing history. But if y'all know boxing history, this guy couldn't punch very hard. But, man, he busted up Duran's face, all kinds of stuff, okay? Let me give you the guy. They called him Roberto Duran. His real name was Robert Duran, but it's what it is. So when you guys looking at your history with Roberto Duran at a light Edwin Virat, go watch all Edwin Virat fight. They tell you, oh, he's slapping Duran. I said, he bust Duran's nose, man. He bust Duran's nose in the rematch. They still didn't give him the fight. It is what it is, right? But Edwin Virat outboxed Roberto Duran in the middle of the ring, okay? Beat him down, started backing him up, okay? If Edwin Virat could beat up Roberto Duran, Floyd Mayweather surely can beat Roberto Duran, okay? Surely could beat him. All right, just letting you guys know. So Duran wasn't the big thing. And with Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., who's talking about he would have beat up Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya put a piece on him, but he wasn't in his prime, so I'm going to excuse that. Now, what Chavez could say is, I beat Floyd's uncle, which was Roger Mayweather, but then Roger Mayweather didn't used to move around the ring really well, okay? His defense wasn't always perfectly on point. You know, he was a bully. So when he started getting bullied, he quit. He's getting beat up on the inside, right? And Floyd has fought guys like Duran and guys like not Carlos Hernandez. I always keep saying Carlos Hernandez. No, there's some little guys who keep coming at you, bringing the pressure, bringing the heat. He even fought Jose Luis Castillo and went toe to toe with Jose Luis Castillo in the first fight, even with an injured arm. And then the second fight, he just outboxed him, right? And I'm just saying that Chavez feels he could beat Floyd. You gotta be stupid, man. You ain't beating Floyd. You know, none of those guys could beat Floyd. And the reason being, like I said before, these guys had difficulty with certain. If you couldn't beat Pernell Whitaker, how you gonna beat Floyd? You know what I'm saying? You would be bemused by Pernell Whitaker and talking about, oh, he would be beating that welterweight. If you're gonna be beating that welterweight, you're gonna be beating that super lightweight. If you're gonna be beating the super lightweight, you're gonna be beating that lightweight. It's just what it is. Okay, it's the same boxer. Okay, so don't talk about no weight being a problem or whatever. You're gonna get beat because skills pay the bills. Okay, and so if you acknowledging you're going to get beat at welterweight, it means you're going to get beat at other weight classes. Y'all just being tongue in cheek. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Chavez is one of the great 140 punchers ever. Only Aaron Pryor and Carlos Ortiz could really challenge him at 140 as far as being the greatest. Yeah, because of his record. Yeah, he really has an impressive record at 140. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. At 130 pounds, Chavez, Floyd, and Alexis Aguirre all have arguments for being the best ever. I can't call it, but from a competition standpoint, I'm going to give it to Aguirre. He was brutal at 130. His level of opposition was insane, although in head-to-head matchups, Chavez and Floyd may be able to beat him. Who knows? Oh, Floyd would beat him. Come on. Aaron Pryor beat him. Floyd would beat him. All right, it's what it is. Would Chavez beat him? Let me think. Alexis Aguirre, good punch power on the outside. Mix it up a little bit on the inside. I say Chavez might beat him. Yeah, I think so. Chavez might beat him. That's possible. You know, at 135, both Floyd and Chavez had prime performances, but neither stayed there long enough to create a great legacy, although the weight was prime for them. Chavez put on the best pressure performance I've ever seen in my life versus Edwin Rosario. Floyd was lights out versus Philip Endu. Forget Philip Endu. 130? Oh, 135. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, 135. Yeah, Philip Endu. Yeah, he stopped him. Yeah, but Philip Endu, who's Philip Endu? You know what I'm saying? Edwin Rosado was a world champion. Philip Endu was who? Who was Philip Endu? You know what I mean? I can envision both fighters beating each other and having to fight more than twice to settle it. Floyd struggled mightily twice versus Jose Luis Castillo pressure. Castillo didn't punch from too far out. He used his feet to get up, and Floyd hit a good jab. He was sandpaper tough. Does that sound familiar? Castillo's slightly watered down version of Chavez. In my opinion, Castillo has a case for winning 12 out of 24 rounds versus a prime Floyd. Nah, you don't have a case for it. And let me just say that Castillo used to spar Chavez, yeah, and Chavez, with Castillo's style is different to Chavez's style. It's a different style. And I just don't see Chavez beating Floyd. I can't see it. He was good, and he tried to put pressure on the inside. Floyd could fight on the inside as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Floyd won round 10 against Castillo. That was the round he took back from Castillo when he started sitting in the pocket and fighting with him. So now, on the other hand, Meldrick Taylor took Chavez to the brink, and he and Chavez needed a little assistance from the referee to win that fight. Yep, Floyd's better than Meldrick overall, but for one night, Taylor was my. Come on, man. He better than you're talking about a guy that's better than Pernell Whitaker, and you're telling I'm better defensive fighter any day, anytime than Meldrick Taylor, who just throw a lot of punches, and you tell me he couldn't do. Oh, shut up, man. As I compute this, I say Chavez wins the first fight. No. Floyd wins the second. Nope. Man, dude, you a trip, man. Usually the first weight class a fighter wins in the title is considered his best. From was first title at 130. He threw more punches at 130. He scored more KOs at 130. And what eyes tell me, he was about 4 fights at 130 to where my A+ Diego Corrales, General Hernandez, Angel Manfredi, Carlos Jarena. That wasn't only it, man. Dude. Floyd fought. Oh, come on, man. Let me just do this before I get out of here. I'm tired of this stuff. I'm talking Floyd Mayweather, man. Y'all get me tired. I don't know why Floyd's name keeps on popping up everywhere, man. But at 130, this is what Floyd fought. Genaro Hernandez, Angel Manfredi. We ain't done. Goyo Vargas, Diego Corrales, Carlos Hernandez, and Jesus Chavez. All of those guys I just mentioned were world champions except for Angel Manfredi, who was a threat and was #1 contender. And everybody thought Angel Manfredi would have put up a better fight, right? But all the other guys I just talked about became world champion. Jesus Chavez was a hell of a fight. I really loved it. Carlos Hernandez became world champion. Diego Corrales was world champion. He was #1 super featherweight in the world. Then you have Gregorio Vargas, was a former world champion. Carlos Jarena was a former world champion. And Genaro Hernandez, who was the reigning WBC World Super Featherweight champion, who was undefeated at Super Featherweight. Okay, this is what it was. Okay, Oscar had just beaten Genaro Hernandez, came back, beat Azuma Nelson before he faced Floyd Mayweather. So in short, he was old though. I got to give him that. But in short, Genaro Hernandez, I mean, you talking world champion straight through. Genaro Hernandez, Carlos Jarena, Gregorio Vargas, Diego Corrales, Carlos Hernandez, and Jesus Chavez. That's a whole bunch of world champions. Now, the only thing about that, though, is Chavez. I don't know if at 130 what Chavez had at 130. Let me see what Chavez had at 130. Then I'm gonna tell you what I think. Okay. I'm trying to get it. I gotta get out of here just now, guys. Julio Cesar Chavez, man. JC. I want to show you what he had at 130. Oh, shoot. Pity, man. I got to see one. Okay, here we are. All right, so he fought world champions, right? He won his title from Mario Martinez. Then he faced Ruben Castillo, who was not a world champion. He faced Roger Mayweather, who wasn't a world champion at the time, but became world champion. Then he faced Rocky Lockridge. Yeah, that was a good fight, though. That was a good fight. Rocky Lockridge was a good fight. Who became world champion. Juan Laporte, who was a world champion, or became a world champion. That's about it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, Floyd had more world champions he faced, but nonetheless, you know, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. A lot more in this bread bag if you want to check it out. Uh, Mike McCollum over Barkley. McCollum's just too well rounded, too tough. Fast I'm not sure for Barkley. Barkley gets beaten up, right? All right. I see the potential for Jacobs and Canelo to happen, but honestly, I think Jacobs, if he fights to the level of his competition as he usually does, makes it more closer than people might expect. To be honest with you, I don't see Jacobs ever beating Canelo because Canelo got just way too many skill sets and then too many tricky things he does inside that ring. So I think Canelo beats him. Canelo gets tripped up by feints, and if Jacobs can work those and his jab, he gives Canelo problems that GGG wouldn't. First of all, Canelo is a master of feinting. So it's who dictates. Jacobs is bigger and from what I've seen, physically more inclined to use his strength. He didn't impose himself that way. Doesn't matter, man. It's not about how big you are, just skills, man. Why do I keep on telling people that? Still, I guess Jacobs will probably lose now. I think of it. When you fight to the level of your competition, it's not about that. That and Canelo getting the benefit of the doubt just because he throws punches. Me and Jacobs, come on, man. All right, man. See what else we got here. Still lots happening at 160. Charles Strong too can jab, has a bit of robotic. He's a bit robotic but doesn't move. I think he's an easy puzzle to solve, but he's like a ball being power creating an overcompensating view of him. I bet he beats GGG now. Then if he's overrated, why is he beating GGG now? Why would GGG still jave the desire to roll out of bed and run up in Big Bear at this point in his career? He gets KO'd by the next big hitter he fights. Working your way up to the bottom with no belts, how many former champs recover and find a new lease on their career? Not too many when they stay in that weight class. First of all, you're making excuses for GGG. You just said Charlo's overrated. How can he be overrated? He's setting up these guys and knocking them out intelligently. How can he be overrated? All right, J-Rock was supposed to beat him. Knocked out J-Rock. Knocked him out. Clean, cold, okay? You can't say he's overrated. What you can say is he's not as experienced. But if he's not experienced, how come he beats GGG? GGG be the same GGG you've seen. It's just the competition he stepped up. He stepped up in competition. So I would love to see Charlo versus GGG, but you're making excuses, so it don't make a difference. Speaking of guys moving up, are you unsure of Usyk at heavyweight as I am? I don't think he hits hard enough, and I feel he starts pretty slow. A big guy can get him out early. If not, he'll simply take his punches better than cruiserweight and impose himself on them. Trading up punches because they get taken better. As much as the Bellew win was probably good defense and a paycheck, it doesn't do much. Bellew has been too busy acting in Rocky movies and beating up old men. Hey, if anything, I don't like him moving up, but I get it. What's left in the cruiserweight? When a tournament is done, one downside is there are a few questions left in that division. Lastly, Sugar Ray Robinson versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Who wins? Thanks for your time. All right. Ray Robinson versus Ray Leonard is the best hypothetical matchup in history. In a 15-round fight, I see Robinson winning 8 or 9 rounds and Leonard winning 6 or 7. That ain't happening. Because Robinson is a 10-rounder fight. In a 15-round fight with Leonard knocks Robinson out. Both are brutal mean finishers, both punching extended speed demon combination. I just think Robinson's a little harder and he's a little busy with this harder hitting thing. First, you gotta hit Leonard to do that. Leonard was ridiculously conditioned. Secondly, Leonard was faster than Robinson. Thirdly, Leonard had great variation of punches. Robinson is looping shots or overhand rights. You know, left hooks. He liked to hook like crazy. In between them hooks, Leonard's going to catch him with a straight shot, man. Put that guy to sleep, man. And Robinson's been punched out the ring. GG imposes himself because of his punching power, not so much of his physical strength. He doesn't maul you. He punches your lights out. Jacobs is a well-rounded athletic boxer, but I think Canelo is better defensively and more dynamically offensive. Yep. Jacobs is bigger and taller. It's a close fight, but Canelo does get the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to point something out, though. Canelo creates a lot of the benefit that he gets. The reason being his punches are so electric. They're judge-friendly and crowd-friendly. Canelo's like one of those street ball kids who play basketball. They get everybody looking at them while the game is going on. He has an it factor, and it's hard to overcome. Not only that, man, he got boxing skill, man. Don't deny the guy's boxing skill. Canelo don't got no reach. He is short, stumpy, small little guy. And how come he gets his punches in on those taller fighters? You got to ask yourself that question, man. Canelo's big and strong, but he doesn't have a freaky skill set. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, Charlo. Oh, Charlo. Okay. Charlo's big and strong, but he doesn't have a freaky skill set. The skill set is solid, but it's predicated on his physicality, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just jab. It's jab, yeah. Fighter uses his best qualities. I'm interested to see if Charlo at 160 can win a fight versus a fighter he cannot hurt, because it's easy to score points on him. There you go. I like that. All right, man, folks. Looks like you guys not really watching anything I'm saying. Oh, well, sorry, my bad. People still watching what I'm saying. All right, man. Throw in your comments, man. Throw in your comments. We're mixing it up. I'm keep on watching your comments, man. You ain't saying nothing. All right, I gotta go, guys. So sorry about this. There are fighters who do not move and find leases on their careers. Terry Norris, Tommy Hearns, Marco Antonio Barrera. The problem for GGG is he'll more likely be 37 when he steps in the ring again. And more problem, he seems to be laboring. His body seems stressed. He's breathing hard. His face is busting up. A fighter who perceived as running from him and ducking him stepped to him in a boxing ring and beat him officially. That's tough to come back from. I'm pulling for him. I want GGG to clip one of those kids who wouldn't have fought him before the Kelbrook fight. Let me just say one thing. He stepped up in competition. That's what it's called. In his very first fight against Canelo Alvarez busted up his face. Very not GGG's the same GGG you saw. It's just he's not looking as good because he stepped up in competition. All right? That's what's up. So y'all hyped up the guy, just like y'all hyping up Usyk. And now y'all concerned about Usyk when he gets to heavyweight because he get tagged up by Tony Bellew. If he's such a great fighter, why are you getting tagged up by Tony Bellew? And he's supposed to be southpaw, so that's supposed to help him. Usyk's a tremendous fighter, and he's not a tremendous fighter. But the eyeball test tells me he's not quite as good as Holyfield when he moved up. Holyfield's much younger, 25 when he left cruiserweight, and so on and so on and so on. I think Holyfield's just slightly better. It's a little bit bigger. I think the heavyweight division is better than when Holyfield moved up. The heavyweights are bigger now, so it's a watch. He's a slow starter. Most notice that, but you're correct. He takes a little time to get cooking. I don't worry about his punching power because elite fighters find a way to hit you often enough to stop you. Take something off his punches on purpose to score, put you in certain positions. Then he can throw a fastball to score KO. My concerns would be slow starts, punches he takes, and can he maneuver the size. Holyfield didn't win all of his heavyweight fights, but he was able to maneuver his size. He was able to prove to have a physically great chin and blah, 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 blah. Look, man, let me just be real with you. Usyk ain't no Chris Bird. He definitely know Evander Holyfield. He's a guy that fights on the outside, just barely on the outside, dipping in and out like Lomachenko, okay? You fight him on the inside, rough him up, he gone, all right? Y'all overhyping this fighter. What attributes and flaws do you look for in fighters? Physical and mental. Some things seem to be obvious, but I know it has to be deeper than that. I get this question answered about every 6 months. There's so many things to name. Obviously, you need a certain level of... Okay, forget that one. Because he just goes on and on and on and on with that one. All right, folks. So I hope you enjoyed this stuff. Nobody else is talking to me. Y'all ain't responding. I ain't seen nothing in the feed, so that means, I guess, y'all are done talking. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. I hope you guys have a good one, man. I got to go get some stuff for my mom right now. I said I was going to do it. I better go do it. But it was enjoyable talking to you guys, just watching some of these things that these guys say on boxingscene.com when they're commenting to people. You know, when we're talking boxing, you got to know your boxing, man. You got to know what boxing is about. I might come back and talk some more boxing to you guys once I come back home. But in short, what I'm saying to you guys is you got to know the sport you're in. You got to know what's going on in the sport you're in. All right. Peace to you guys. And boxing's a lot more cerebral than you think. And it's a lot of learning and a lot of things to do. Boxing's a doing sport. Roger Mayweather will tell you that. And as much as I'm talking here, that's superficial. Actually executing those things and doing those things is a whole other ball game, right? All right, guys. Have a good one.